It's the Flow Friday Night Sports Show, and it's time to head to KNT now to find out what happened there in KNT Netball. Joining me on the line, Sally Bywater is back again to help us go through it all. Hello, Sally. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. It feels like only yesterday we spoke, but here we are again.
Another week has passed us by, and a big round of matches it was last weekend. A couple of really close ones. In fact, we'll start with the close ones today. I couldn't believe this scoreline when I saw it. Very defensive game, and Border Districts 34 have prevailed over the home side, Lucendale 30. They would have been cock-a-hoop with this Border Districts.
I absolutely think so. I think obviously we know how strong Lucendale have been over the last few seasons, and Border Districts have probably not quite been there. But to have this win, and I'm presuming it's their first win against them for a few years, so good on them and well done. And yeah, obviously not very high scoring, and I think Lucendale led at 11-3 at quarter time. So,
wow.
Or might have been Border Districts, whichever way. But yeah, only 3 goals at quarter time in an A-grade game. Not too much, so that's obviously why we see such a low scoreline.
Yeah, indeed. So just 64 goals scored in the entire match, so the defence is reigning supreme there. In contrast, another close game was between Penola and Narracourt, and this game saw 109 goals scored, 58-51. So, gee whiz, that must have been a quick game.
Absolutely, like high scoring here, and both these sides have some young youth in there and experienced players, and Penola had the lead 8 goals at half-time and just kept the defensive pressure up and shot at 90% accuracy. So it always difficult for the Demons to get back into that game, and you held on and won by 7. Yeah,
indeed. You think you score 58 in a game, you would have hoped to have won by more than 7, but both offences there dominating. The other 2 games to talk about, first of all, Kybe Bolite. They had a very strong win over Padthaway, 68-32, so plenty of goals in that one as well, but most of them down the Kybe Bolite end.
Yeah, it was, obviously. Yeah, we said this one last week. It was going to be one of the first wins for those 2 teams, and Kybe really came out and put their foot down and had a great win, and yeah, obviously their goalies were consistent all game and played well all over the court, so a great win there by the Tiger Girls.
Yes, indeed. And then the Keith crew at home against Bordertown. They did enough to win 61-38, so plenty of goals scored in that game as well.
Yeah, obviously was, inside of the stadium. It was nice and warm there last week at Keith, but that was okay. So, yeah, obviously great game on display, and Keith is too strong. They were all over the court and had a good win.
Yeah, and if we have a quick check of the ladder in the A-grade competition, you'll see Keith on top, 3 wins. They haven't had a loss yet. Border Districts, they haven't had a loss yet either. They've had a bye in there. Then we go to Penola 2-1, Narracourt 2-1, Lucendale 1-1, Mundalla 1-1, and Kybe Bolite 1 win, 2 losses. So a bit of a logjam there between sort of 2nd and 7th at the moment. And Bordertown and Padthaway yet to break their duck.
Yeah, that's right. Obviously, you always expect Keith to be up there on the top, but then, it's really open slather after that because any team can be up there. Obviously, Bordertown and Padthaway just a bit behind the times, but hopefully they'll get some wins on the board this season. And, yeah, it looks like an interesting ladder so far. It's
certainly an interesting ladder and some interesting matches this week to match that ladder. If we have a look at who's playing who this week, we will start with Padthaway, who are hosting Penola, and you'd think Penola would be too strong there.
Yeah, I think so. Penola's really started the season well, had their 2 wins and only that 1 loss against Keith. So, yeah, I think Padthaway will still be looking for their first win after this week, but put up a good effort.
Border Districts are still undefeated at the moment, as we mentioned. They host Mundalla, and this becomes an important game for both clubs.
Yeah, I think this will be a really tough game. Mundalla obviously had that bye last week. I was not having a game against Kingston, and Border Districts started their season really well. I think if it came down to a shootout, I think Mundalla would have the better capacity to get those goals on the board, but defensively, Border is proving really well. So in a close one, I'll tip Border.
This one here, Lucendale, never a good time to get Lucendale. Off a loss is probably the worst time to get them. And Bordertown, unfortunately, will host them this week, and I think Lucendale will come out breathing fire.
Yeah, I think so. Lucendale, the consistency over the years has been quite well. Bordertown still looking for their first win. They do have the home ground advantage, but might not be up to their scratch this week. So hopefully they'll put up a good fight. Very close game, but Lucendale, Lucendale is a close one.
Yes, indeed. And the last match of the round, I reckon, is the match of the round. Now, Keith, they love it under their in their complex, but they're going to have to go outdoors to Narracourt, travel down the highway, and Narracourt have been pretty good to start the season, so this should be a very interesting game.
I totally agree. I think it will be the match of the round. Obviously, Keith had their last 2 weeks at home, so they're back outside this week, and I hear a hint there might be some rain around, so hopefully it's a good game down there at Narracourt. But I think Keith will be too strong, but yeah, Narracourt will put it up to them.
Yeah, they will. One probably won't be as many goals scored as we've seen from Keith, but their defence obviously will have a bit easier time of it as well. So should be a cracking game of netball, that one. And you mentioned there might be some rain. Let's hope so. We could do with some.
Absolutely. I'm sure people are really looking forward to some rain, and nice to become 5 o'clock or something, but we won't complain either way.
Exactly. Wait for the netball to finish and then pour down. But good luck to everyone hitting the court. Anything else before we wrap up, Sally?
I'll just have a big shout out. We've got another milestone game this week. So Pathway's Cara Davis is playing 150th game. So well done to her. That's a great effort. And we're just our country champs teams have started training and trialling. So yeah, good luck to all girls trialling in those teams.
Indeed. Good luck to the girls this week and for those heading off to the country champs. Sally will catch up with you again next week to find out how the games all panned out.
Sounds great. Thank you.